And we're in. How you guys doing? Let me do an audio check. Oh, Jay Hart, first name I saw. See Phoenix Protocols here. Square Peg. Pamela. Thank you, moderators. Audio's good. Hey, I think this may be my first time doing one so late in the day, but apparently our Aussie and New Zealand brothers and sisters appreciate this. And okay, we're not gonna leave Maryland out either. Let me get up here to the top of this thread. Oh, I don't mean to show off. That's some good coffee right there. Yeah, somebody got real creative. Let me go and take another sip. I got a fan in Japan. They got real creative with this caricature. I don't know, kind of looks like me. That's crazy. Oh my God, that's crazy. I appreciate the gifts, guys. Although I don't respond a lot immediately to receiving them, I try to show them all off in the videos, as you know. I think my last live video, I showed you this one. Oh, as a matter of fact, the person that sent me this mug, Aaron's United, is the same one that sent me this shirt. What? Y'all like that? I didn't know I could wear orange. It's not a color I normally wear. All right. So got a few interesting things going on. Is when I first started this journey, making it sound like it was a long time ago, my YouTube channel, although you look on YouTube, it says 2017. That's only because I joined YouTube in 2017, a couple months after I got out of prison. So my channel is that old, but I didn't upload a video until long after that. So it was like the end of 2018. I don't remember. But anyway, that first video, it would be another year. You guys already know the story. Most of you know the story. I had a motorcycle accident, and my second video all the way till now is the result of just a change in perspective from that motorcycle accident, and now embracing simulation theory, which wasn't even on the table in my first video, which was about the Phoenix. Now, a year ago, I had less than 4,000 subs. A year ago, matter of fact, I didn't even hit 4,000 until I believe it was December, around Christmas and New Year's time, because I was really pushing videos, but I didn't really have a lot of subs. I hit about 4,000. Then I was at 4,200 when Santos Bonacci interviewed me with Logan of Decode Your Reality. Now, since then, you guys know the story. I've grown exponentially. But a year ago, I used to check out this guy's stuff. Now, at first, somebody had sent me an email and said, "Hey, man, look at this, man. This guy, he's got some videos that reflect some of your older videos." And I looked just thinking, okay, why are you telling me this? You want me to get mad or something because somebody borrowed some of my material? So I went and I checked it out, and I noticed that, yeah, this guy has some really interesting take on different historical events. Some of those events I did already cover 2 years ago, but they're not even coming from the same perspective. They're not a trace or a hint that this guy had ever seen my videos. So I totally ignored those inferences that this person had made in an email, and I genuinely checked out some of his videos. You guys, I like him. Now, he may not like me. I really don't know, but he goes by Static in the Attic. And I've checked out 2 of his videos today, and I made some comments to him because I know he's not really a historian, but he's a smart guy. He can see through the BS, and he made a comment in one of his videos that kind of struck me as really interesting, and that's because he came across a PDF of a very old book from 1749, and the sources that book used, I'm familiar with almost all of them. I cite them in my Chronicon and many of my videos. But somebody in 1749 had amassed their own chronology, and it deviates quite a lot from Archbishop James Ussher. It's actually more accurate than in some departments, not all. So I have Archbishop James Ussher 1658 edition of the Annals of the World. Huge chronology. It's right here on my shelf. So this 1749 deal, it opened my eyes to something, and I have to give credit where it's due. Whether I ever talk to this man or not, it doesn't matter. But Static in the Attic is the one that brought the 1749 manuscript to my attention, and you guys are going to get a video or two out of this, not because of its contents, but because of what it verifies, what it shows me. I don't know why the hell I got a Pinterest. That is weird. I have never got a Pinterest pop-up on my computer. As a matter of fact, Pinterest is something that I log on to maybe once every 18 months. Wow. Talk about AIX. Okay, so anyway, you guys will have an interesting video coming about that. Remember when I broke down that other book that was 270 years old, and I went through it and showed you all the gems and how it verifies all these chronological themes and evidence that I have purported throughout my videos? You remember that? That video got it was a live video. I did that live and showed you guys the book, and I went through it and I showed you just amazing things that were in this 270-year-old book. I'm going to do the same thing with this 1749 book. It's got some gems, but it's really interesting that Static in the Attic made a comment, and it kind of triggered me. That comment was, he was showing in his video that all these different cataclysmic events that are lumped together, showing different year dates, but it's basically the same phenomenon. Then he shows a map of the world, and he's claiming, I'm not saying he's right, I'm not saying he's wrong either, but he's claiming that all these events actually happened at one time. And chronographers staggered them to hide this fact that there was a worldwide reset and all these civilizations were destroyed in recent antiquity. Now, he mentions, I have a video about the great tsunamis and the Mediterranean disasters of Alexandria in 365. Ammianus Marcellinus is my source materials on that. And how ships were found in the mountains after that. Mediterranean just sloshed. So totally pulled whole cities and their citizens out to sea in 365. Well, he shows that this author knew about that too and cited 365 Anno Domini and showed this deal. But anyway, I'm telling you guys this because Static is right. Remember, guys, I showed you my Anno Domini video where the Roman papacy altered the calendars to hide the Phoenix phenomenon. What Static is seeing, and what I have shown you guys over and over, all these different cataclysms during the Justinian period, all these weird things that all basically sound the same, but they're saying they happened in a 24-year period, and they call it the Justinian plague period and all. It's not. It happened in one single year, 522 AD. And because it was a return of the vapor canopy temporarily, the sky was dark for like 24 years. It was easy to spread these events all the way out, even though they happened in 1 year, and then the darkness was a carryover. Same thing that happened in 1687 BC. Same thing that happened after the 3895 BC Great Reset that started the Annus Mundi and Phoenix system completely at year one, when the Adam and Eve story being a cataclysmic reset that was so terrible that the survivors actually thought it was a new heavens and new earth. So this was the origin of the Genesis creation story, which is basically a condensed, abbreviated, more concise version of the 7 stages of creation and destruction of the world in the Babylonian enema Elish caused by Tiamat. And Tiamat, the Babylonian dragon of creation and destruction, is Tiamat is Typhon, the phoenix. It's also the reason why Genesis chapter 1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. 3 different prepositional phrases fused together to create one statement that was all conclusive and final. But the second verse begins with the world totally destroyed, covered in darkness and waste, which is, it's using Hebrew terms that are only found in Jeremiah. And in that chapter 4 of Jeremiah, it gives more details, saying the birds of the skies have fled and the cities are laid waste. What happened before the Adam and Eve story is why God said the very first command, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And although I didn't have any intention of saying all these things, it does lead us into our topic for the night. How the truth is conveyed through deception. Remember the serpent in Eden? What happened? Y'all all know the story. The serpent was cursed for telling the truth. Yes, he did. Your eyes will be open. No, you will not surely die. And they weren't killed for disobeying the gods, the Elohim. They weren't. They were banished. It began the cursed earth system, which I just did a video yesterday about. So anyway, let me show off this cup again. I love me some coffee. So I'll be going through that. Like, well, you already know my chronographical mind. I'm going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb because I was reading it today, and I'm going to do a video on that same manuscript that Static did. And not to steal his fire, it's been a while since he released that video. He got a lot of good views off of it, but I have no intention of conveying the same thing he did. And I do agree with him that he is right. Many of those events are the exact same event, the exact same year. What I don't know, what he's not clear, what I'm not clear, I'm not sure when exactly he thinks that event occurred. And that's cool. That's cool. Because this isn't a fundamental difference. It's only a difference in degree. And I'm cool with that. So he and I have that in common. And I'll be doing that video showing you guys that this massive event was 522 AD. That's what ended all these civilizations. It's the reason why we have today the Anno Domini calendar, which was backdated 5.5 centuries to cover all this up to the date, the year they thought that Jesus was born. Because you got to understand, for over 5 centuries, let's just say, for argument's sake, there was a Jesus. Let's say that he was the Jesus of the Gospels. If Jesus existed, we still did not have a year of the Lord calendar for over 520 years. Now, that year of the Lord calendar didn't appear until 520 something years later. But here's where it really gets interesting. It wasn't even adopted by Europe until the passage of 1,000 years. Yeah, the Anno Domini calendar is very, very recent, guys. Very recent. So, anyway, look at my little cue card. Let's see. I just want to give you all the news about that video there. Now, somebody else, I told him I will be citing his name unless he sends me an email and tells me not to. But I'm doing another video. Remember, I've already released 2 or 3 videos about the machinery in the sky, showing you different historical woodcuts and stuff like that. Well, somebody found a gold mine. It's attached to the Phoenix timeline. Awesome. I have never seen this book. I've got actual photocopies of the book. It's preserved. It's very old, and it's all about what happened in 1761. Excuse me, 1763. Fantastic. I will be doing a video about, watch out for it, because it's another one of those machines in the sky videos, but this one's got a twist. All he had to do was send it to me. I read it, flipped through it, saw, and instantly instantly knew exactly how this comports with other pieces of research that I've never divulged. It didn't really have a need to. There was no reason. There was no way I could really just tie all these things together. They tied in together with that one manuscript. So you'll be getting that. You can take that to the bank. So truth and fiction. Before we get started, we got 853. I was worried about coming in tonight and doing a real late one, because I really didn't know what kind of participation we were going to have. I had totally forgot that in another hemisphere, may as well say a whole nother world down under, we have two collections down there, the Australians and the New Zealanders, that I think this is like 10, 11, or 12 in the morning for them or something like that. 12 noon, something. So let me go up here and look at this chat thread. Oh my God. Square Peg, you did not mention A Boy and His Dog, one of my favorite movies as a kid. And yes, again, guys, you have to understand, I'm not doing this video to start something, all right? Don't think that Archaix is now going to start doing truth in movies. No, there's guys that have time to watch movies, and they're far more qualified than I am. You got two of them offhand that I know real well. J Dreamers will do truth in movies, and he does a really good job. As a matter of fact, I specifically asked J Dreamers to do 2 movies, or I think I mentioned The Boy and His Dog to him because I really like that movie. You know, I like the theme of that movie and where it goes and how it shows the parallels with what's going on today. But I asked him to do Night of the Comet. Do you guys remember the movie from the 80s called The Night of the Comet? It's now a cult classic. But when I mentioned The Night of the Comet, a whole bunch of people had to go Google it. They had totally forgotten. People my age, late 40s, but 50s, 60s, they couldn't remember the movie until they started watching the little previews, and they remember. It's a movie easy to forget, but it's packed. It is absolutely packed with Phoenix symbolism, and everything about it is relevant to 2040 in the Phoenix. Even down to the end where government facilities underground and all that. It's just crazy. So Night of the Comet was a really good movie in the 80s. It's another method of basically, it's a soft disclosure. Here, we're going to go ahead and provide you a fictive story. It's a beautiful story. And for those of you who don't have eyes to see, you will enjoy this presentation because it's just that, a presentation. But for those of you who are on point and doing your homework, this is a major reveal. So we have the beginning of the movie. We have these two teenage girls that are best friends, or sisters, actually. They're sisters. And one's a cheerleader, and one's working in a movie theater, and she doesn't like life, and things aren't going her way. And it's supposed to be a big party, and it is. Everybody in New York is partying, everybody, because it's the Night of the Comet. And they've been watching this comet come for a long time, and it was reported by the news, and everybody's out partying, drinking, doing their whatever, their drugs, whatever, and they're looking up at the sky. But this girl and her sister are with these two guys, and they like make out, but they're in a underground movie theater that used to be a military bunker. Or a military fallout bomb shelter during World War II. So they fall asleep drunk or whatever. And when they wake up to a whole new world. When they go outside, they don't find people. They find red dust everywhere, all over the entire city. And they see people's clothes and jewelry and wallets and belts and shoes all over the streets. And they go through buildings and they find the same thing, and they realize they're the last people on Earth. Then they come across a mutant, somebody who wasn't totally exposed to the comet trail, because in the show the world passed through the comet's tail. People turned into red dust. It's very similar to the phenomenon in War of the Worlds, when the machinery of the Martians, the aliens, the inhabitants of the red planet, they zap humans, and humans turn into a red mist. They're basically bloodified all over the place. So Night of the Comet is a movie you need to watch if you haven't seen it, or at least go watch J Dreamer's breakdown of the movie. It's fantastic. I love those old movies. And yes, a boy and his dog is another one of those movies. I'm not gonna do these. This is just the only video. I just want to have fun tonight with those movies. Basically have you guys participate, because I know some of you can educate me on some really good movies as well. And not just movies. We have all kinds of soft disclosures going on. What about music videos? What about Olympic ceremonies? What about things like nursery rhymes? Remember about a year ago, I sang y'all a nursery rhyme, and I believe it was a live video. Row, row, row your boat. Remember that? Talking about simulation theory? That was over a year ago I did that, I believe. There was another nursery rhyme I had sang. I can't remember. Old Mother Hubbard, or I can't remember. But nursery rhymes, fairy tales. What about, let's talk about A Boy and His Dog real quick. I know a bunch of you have seen that. It was, what's that guy's name? Miami Vice. It was his debut movie. He was young. After World War III, nuclear fallout had destroyed a bunch, and he's going community to community with his dog. And there's all kinds of reveals through the movie that's really interesting. But the movie ends with a civilization thriving, hidden from all the people who are just barely making it on the surface. All these people on the surface are barely making it. But at the end of the movie, he finds a whole thriving community underground, and they've got everything. They've got technology. They got all the amenities, all that stuff. Same thing is going to unfold in 2040. It's already unfolding. They've already got their facilities there. I'm pretty sure they've been filling their commissaries up as they got workers down there doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm not fooled. I've got videos about what's going on in the underworld. I've been talking for a while, guys. Let me go ahead and do another sound check. Well, I don't see nobody complaining, so. If you want me to do research on the Thracian scripts, all you got to do is send me some PDFs. Look into it. There is nothing historical that I won't look into, but more than often, a lot of people just ask me to go look at this and go look at that. I've got my own research to do. I got all kinds of things. I'm more than willing, but you got to send it to me. PDFs are free. I send free PDFs out every single day on my emails. If there's anything in the Thracian scripts that is in PDF form, I'll look at it. Believe that. Or unless you send me in the mail. Some people send me books in the mail. Oh my God, did I get a treasure in the mail the other day? I don't know where it's at. I don't have time to look for it. Someone sent me a catalog. Now, this was written over 200 years ago, but it's a collection of all the surviving records, that all the text that we have from like 26th century BC all the way down to 200 AD. Even though the Anno Domini calendar didn't exist then, we've backdated it. It's a retrospective calendar, but that's a phenomenal. It's a full catalog. It's a list, and it's very old. It came in protective plastic. Somebody sent it to me, and yes, you guys will be getting a video out of that too. Believe that. Believe that. Oh, Matt Kubas, 2178. Wear it like a badge. That's the destination. That is the destination. See what's going on in this chat. I hear my dogs all barking. I just installed cameras all over the property. I'm getting new Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi is terrible. I'm not going to continue to have my Wi-Fi collapse on me like that. That's over with. Yeah, it's not the only movie. Night of the Comet. I don't know if you did a breakdown of the other one, but if you want to see the deeper side of Hollywood, yeah, Jay Dreamer's channel is where you go for that, because he's going to show you some really profound things in the movie reveals. I'm not good at that. One, if I'm not reading something, it's really hard for me to maintain my attention. Text, I can. It pisses off my friends and family. It really does. But I can open up a book, and 7.5 hours later, I can get up, walk around, and get something to drink, and everybody's irritated with me because I haven't moved. I mean, I literally get lost in literature, and it's just there are no movies, there are no screens, there's nothing that can captivate my attention like that, but a book does. Once I open up a book, it doesn't take me. I got to read 4 or 5 paragraphs. Next thing you know, I am vibrating on the frequency of the information contained in that book. Because you got to believe it, guys. Every single book ever written has its own informed field. Just like every rock, every twig, the twig's informed field will inform you that it's nothing but a piece of something that is still alive. I mean, informed fields convey information. A book conveys all the information of its original intent, its original author, and everywhere it's gone, every hand it's been passed through. It contains people exchange information just being in contact with each other. I'm exchanging information with you guys right now, and it's not just the words coming out of my mouth. There is no real distance in space and time. So even though we're on different continents and different countries, and we're all looking at screens or phones or tablets, computers, whatever, it doesn't really matter, because in essence, in the holo field, we're all together right now. We're all in each other's presence. Our informed fields are exchanging a tremendous amount of information. This is the beauty of a holographic universe. There are books called the Holographic Universe, and I suggest you read them. I've read a couple, but this is I tell you guys a lot about Ishak Bentov. That's it. Ishak Bentov, Paul LaViolette, P.D. Ouspensky, these guys, Liber Chaos, a book by Peter Carroll. Listen, these guys, they understood. Our arithmetic shows evidence that we live on the photo-negative side. We live in the anti-arithmetic. We're not living in the real universe. We're living in the false side. We are the shadows on Plato's wall. And this is why Plato used fiction to convey deep truths. It's exactly what he did. If any of you have ever read the Republic, you will know what I'm talking about. If you have read the dialogues of Plato and the verbal exchanges that passed between these great men that Plato was recording, even though it's all fiction, he made it all up. But the dialogues are fantastic. But this great Republican civilization, it has never existed. It will never exist as long as men have the propensity, basically, to do evil. It's the Republic, just like the Constitution of the United States and other nations' constitutions as well, that are equally well written. It says these constitutions are only as good as the people that protect them. The Constitution in itself can do nothing. So it's the same thing. The Republic is fantastic, but it's never existed. We have never had a society like that. Now, you have to understand, Plato was a genius. When he introduced the teachings of Solon, he had an agenda. When he gave the story of Atlantis, he was giving us an archetype that is an absolute blueprint for the Tower of Babel story. When a civilization becomes so rich and sedentary, when a civilization becomes haughty, when a civilization has met its tipping point, it's destroyed. And the great civilization of Atlantis was the exact same way. He put it anachronistically into a time period that it could have never existed. There was no Greece 9,000 BC. There wasn't even an Egypt 9,000 BC. So Atlantis couldn't have been at war with either one of them. So it's many ancient authors have used fiction to promote fact. I truly believe the Tower of Babel story is absolutely fiction. Who would have been able to record that the gods were up there looking down on men and having a conversation with themselves, talking about, look, behold, the man has become as one of us, not only knowing good and evil, but there is nothing that by imagination he will not be able to accomplish. This is exactly what they said. Who recorded that conversation if all mankind was down here and underwent the great cataclysm that the gods up there put them through? Yeah, killed a third of them, destroyed a third of the structure that they were building, and then scattered them into 70 different languages. More evidence of simulation theory, because outside of the context of a simulated holography of coding, they would have never been able to recodify languages because of a cataclysm. It would have never happened. So But it's so weird. Anybody who has read the books from the early 19th century and 20th century on linguistics, on all the, man, there's hundreds of them. You can, and to make it easy on yourself, just stick to those by Lewis Spence. When you just read these books and you realize, oh my God, all these languages are so similar. They're so similar, going all from different continents, all the way from Polynesia, Melanesia, Micronesia, Oceania, and then in South America, from South America to Easter Island, we go all the way up to Turkey, the area of Göbekli Tepe and the Lion's Gate of Mycenae. You go back far enough in time and you research all the linguistics, you find, damn, the similarities are uncanny. It's almost as if the Babel story was true, but it can't be. That's a fairy tale. So the Tower of Babel story being a fiction conveys a very real fact. The story of Atlantis being a fiction conveys a very real fact. These are veiled threats to humanity by an overseer program. That program might be intelligent beings that are watching everything, or it could be nothing but a governor. Imagine a restrictor plate on the continuum that we call history. That restrictor plate is going to make sure that humans only get sophisticated enough to do the things that they need to do. If they start looking up, we're gonna knock them down. So that was also the subject matter of my last chart video, where I showed you all these resets through human history. Every single time we were about to become technologically sophisticated again, over and over and over and over. Our development is steadily retarded by resets over and over and over and over. But in 1902, we were given a pass. In 1902 is the final 414-year period. The cursed Earth system, which was discovered by biblical chronologist Stephen Jones and published widely in his book, The Secrets of Time. Not my discovery. All I did was find out that his chronology perfectly mirrors the Phoenix timeline, 100%. So we have these fictions that teach us great truths. One of my personal heroes is Jason a Christian? No, not by modern interpretations, because I can't walk into a church today and then tell people what I truly believe, and those believers accept me as being one of them. I can't. Do I follow the teachings of Christ? Absolutely. Do I believe in the Christ? Absolutely. But I believe in the Christ as conveyed before Christianity that we know of today ever came around. It's totally different. The carnalized Christ is the fiction. And I don't want to trigger anybody, but I got a whole playlist that conveys all this, and most of it's using the Bible to do it. The most spiritual things that man ever said were in parables. And parables are images of truth. An image isn't the thing itself. Therefore, using fictions, miniature little stories about people and situations those people are in, which convey very deep spiritual meanings. They're parables. The parables of Jesus are fantastic. They are multifaceted, and they can be peeled back in layers of understanding. But they're fictions. Not one single one of those stories is an actual historical event or true, and nor does Jesus ever claim they were. They're just parables, images of truth. Same thing Hollywood gives us, images of truth. 2005, did you guys go to the theaters? I was in prison, but did you guys go to the theaters and watch the movie The Island? How many of you seen? Tell me if you've seen that movie in the chat. The Island. Scarlett Johansson. I can't remember who the guy was. Hello, Jahari, Matt. Thank you, guys. The Island. Everybody in the island was told there was an awesome reward. The island, if they won the lottery. If they won out of the whole collective and the prize was so fast, so much. Sometimes it would be 2 people a week, sometimes it would be 2 people a month, but it was happening enough to where everybody worked, everybody minded, everybody did what they were supposed to. Nobody questioned the status quo. Everybody lived what they were supposed to, wore what they were supposed to. Nobody broke the rules. It was an insulated community of thousands of people. The island didn't exist at all. The island, what they were told when they won the lottery, when they were going to be released, they were told they were going to live on an island, they were going to have servants, they were going to be rich, they were going to have peace, and their days of working in that world are over with. They were told that they had to stay in there because the world outside had been totally destroyed. But it wasn't true. They were a part of a government program way out in the middle of the desert, and they thought the whole world was dead because that's what they were told. They were born that way. Everybody in that community was a clone. And when they won the lottery, they were removed from that community, and they went to a surgical room, and their organs were removed because a famous person or a politician or actor had been in an accident or got cancer and they needed their organs. So their clones were taken out thinking that they had won the lottery. But the lottery was they died on a surgical bed. Harrowing movie, but it's truth through fiction. It's almost a parody of the real world today, of avatars, and some of those avatars actually knowing the truth, a minority, and using that truth and weaponizing it against the many. There's many movies like that. I know you guys know a bunch. You've probably already mentioned a bunch of them in the chat. I just haven't been paying attention. But go over here and look at my chat. I don't want to ignore my chat. Not when I'm doing such a relaxed video like this. So look, Jay Dreamers is really good at the truth in movies, and I suggest you go check his out. If you want an added dimension to movies and all that, you need to check out Logan of Decode Your Reality. His method is totally different than Jay Dreamers, but he also looks deep into movies and shows you basically deeper meanings using gematria. Now, you guys already know I'm not into it. I'm not into gematria because I believe that in a hologram, we're going to see the signs and symbols of everything. It's just coding is everywhere, and everything can be coded. Everything is coded. So gematria is just one layer of the holography. So yeah, man, please. Thank you, Pamela. Smash that like button, please. When the likes don't equal the observers, that means there's a tater in them onions. At least that's what we say over here in Central East Texas. Outwitting Tomorrow, the Rulers of Evil. I haven't heard that one. Thank you, Harley Davidson. I like this shirt too. I like it too. Cosmic Cowboy. See, I have it. The Holographic Universe. Yes, it's a tough read. Okay, Zen Win, you read that too. Holographic Universe. Listen, there's also another good book you can read. It's a lot easier to read than like Paul LaViolette is not easy to read. P.D. Alspinski and Gurdjieff, they are not easy reads. But the Science in the Akashic Field, now that's an easy read, conveys the same concept. That's a good book to read as well. So Liber Chaos is not an easy read as well. Liber Chaos is for those who have already read almost everything else. Liber Chaos is next generation cognition. It's a small book, but it's not one you're going to get through fast. So there's another good book. I never talk about it because it's very cynical, but it's full, absolutely packed full of gems. It's a large hardback book, but it's cheap. It's not even expensive. The world's all wrong, and everybody knows it. It's a very cynical, philosophical, modern book, but the man gives thousands of examples of why everything in the world is absolutely the opposite of the way it should be. The book is genius. It's called The World's All Wrong, and everybody knows it. It's a good book. But I've read so many books like that. I believe it's David Jacobs also wrote The Discovery of Nothing. It's literally about the number zero in empty spaces in our reality. And if it wasn't for empty spaces, there would be no reality, because everything in reality gets its contours from the very fact that everything around it is empty spaces. So he basically decodes the holography around us using the binary system. It's zeros and ones, and it's fascinating. His name is David Jacobs, and he wrote a book called The Discovery of Nothing. Very good book. Oh, here's a coincidence. I got a book in the mail called The Discoverers by Daniel Boorstin. It is a book I read about 12, 13 years ago, and I mentioned it recently in my video where I was discussing the Chinese fleets. Oh, with autodidactic. About the Chinese fleets that made it to Australia. And I mentioned that about Daniel Boorstin, and I read a book called The Discoverers, and it's all about the year 1421, the year the Chinese discovered the world. And it's about how the Chinese mapped most of the coast of the Americas and Australia in 1421 and after. And then as soon as they returned to a different government. That government was totally against the idea of, they were so pro-nationalist that they were totally against the idea of spreading out around the world or the spreading out of knowledge, period. And they destroyed most of the books, maps, all the charts, all sunk the ships, everything. It's crazy. Yeah. If ever there was a race, of people who have basically stepped on their own feet and yet have continued in the longest civilization in the world, it is the Chinese, and by extension the other people of the Orient. Because you go back far enough, most of them go the same. You just got to go back far enough before they all fractured into Koreans and Japanese and all this stuff. Don't tell them that; they'll get offended. But it's just like Caucasians, or white people, whatever we want to be called. I really don't give a damn about the politics, but chasing back far enough and you find, the Burgundians, the Franks, there's a lot of hostility between the French and the Germans, but that's only recent. Go back 700-800 years, and the Franks and the Burgundians and the Prussians, they all recognized that they were from the same stock. Go back 1,000 years, and they were all passing over the Central Asian steppes, coming over the Baltic from north of Assyria. So yeah, it's old white people go back in history far enough, and all of it starts coming together. Even the Celts and the Gauls, and the Cimri and the Cimmerians and the Scythians, all start coming together. Got to read some E. Raymond Cap. You got to read some Cap. Cap's going to let you know. Especially, he's got a good book called Missing Links in Assyrian Tablets. I don't know what's into me. I don't know why I'm recommending all these books. We're supposed to be doing some truth and fiction. I might have turned all that. So yeah, those are the two I'm recommending. There's three people I'm recommending tonight from personal experience. One of them is don't just wait for my video about that ancient manuscript, Static in the Attic. He's got some pretty good videos. He's got some interesting content. He doesn't put out a lot, but he's got a lot of videos from the past. They're pretty good. So Logan of Decode Your Reality, if you want to get even deeper into the movies, you want some real good breakdowns of the movies, Jay Dreamers. So check them out. I'm only mentioning those tonight because that's what the subject matter of this video is. We're just shooting the shit, talking about fiction. I'm just looking at some of these comments. Okay. What about comic books? What about song lyrics? Some of you guys have sent me some emails. I can't remember them all, but some of you guys have sent me some really interesting emails of different songs that came out. We Are 138, or a group called Phoenix Phoenix, their #1 song was called 1901. Go figure that one out. So there's a lot of them. There's a guy, I hope he's in the chat right now. If he is, introduce yourself. But there's a guy who sent me an email and said, hey man, check this out. I just want you to click on this. This is a cartoon. It's very old, but what it shows at the end is going to be very interesting to you. So I clicked on it. I went ahead and clicked on it. I looked, and it took me back. I'm a little kid again. Saturday morning, looking at my TV, watching cartoons. That's what it took me back to. I'm like, wow, this is like the old style cartoons from the early 80s. So late 70s. So I'm watching this thing, and it's all about these kids being heroes, and they're saving the world from an alien race and an alien invasion. And at the very end of the cartoon, which has nothing to do with the cartoon itself, but they're saving the world from an alien invasion, all 4 of these kids kind of combine into a spaceship, and then the exhaust of the spaceship shows a phoenix. Like, wow. I said, I don't remember who he is. I got him marked in my emails, but yeah, he sent me that. I was like, wow. They just won't stop. But I mean, they do have multiple narratives that are ongoing right now. I mean, the alien invasion narrative that the deep state elite might pull is just that. It is a narrative. It may collapse just like a reality tunnel collapses if it's not needed. Because they also have the solar flare, X-flare, EMP narrative going. The media is also putting out the asteroid comet impact narrative. They're always feeding these narratives because they don't know which one they need, what they'll need when they need it. It's the exact same thing intelligence agencies do when they're trying to muddle the waters, especially like with the Patriot movement. There's like 5 different major threads of theories of ideas of what's going on with the Biden administration and what are the Patriots really going to do. And I mean, all these different threads, but this is what intelligence agencies do. They feed these narratives. Yeah, that's why I can't listen, these guys might be good guys. I can't listen to Charlie Ward. I can't listen to Mel K. I can't listen to, what's that guy in England that he's doing promises med beds and all that. I can't listen to that guy over cosmic. It's not cosmic consciousness. It's something. You guys know who I'm talking about. Something consciousness. He always used to be on with Charlie Ward and all that. I can't listen to those guys because this is how the operatives work. They have an agenda. They're going to find guys that are believable. Charlie Ward's really likable. He might be a good guy. He's absolutely convinced that somebody genuine who has real intel is feeding him the truth. So he puts it out. He's doing what he thinks he's supposed to be doing as a patriot. That's what he's doing. That's what makes him the perfect vehicle for misinformation. Yeah, Mel K too. I can't even listen to Mel K. Mel K may be a patriot, but when she tells us her narratives, there is a certain ethnic group of people that she never points the finger at, ever. It's always the corrupt politicians. It's always no, we already know why they're corrupt. We know who pays them. We already know who owns the money. We already know who owns everything. So if you're going to just spit out all this information, go ahead, since that's what you do, and that's what you're known for, then go ahead and reveal it all. So anyway, yeah, I can't listen to her. Now there are people, 107, I can't entertain him. I can't listen to him because there's too many narratives that he's pushed that don't make sense. They even conflict. There's too many things. Is he a patriot? Probably right. Does he think he's doing the right thing? Absolutely. I believe that. Does he believe that he's being fed really good intel? I believe that, or he wouldn't be doing that. I believe it, yes. That's why, because these intelligence agencies, they know that you can't just pass bullshit off on the people. People are basically intelligent. So you got to find the people that they will believe and then pass the information to them. And then when they all get different drops of information and they start verifying each other, you have now turned a fiction into a fact. Now all these people are now believing exactly because they've got multiple people saying it. Now you have the victims of this, real true patriots who listen to all these narratives, and they hear it, and then they're stuck with, okay, well, shoot, this must be true, and they pass this information on to somebody else. So you do have people on YouTube that I admire, and I admire them because they'll tell you real quick that, hey, I'm bringing a guest on tonight. I'm gonna bring this guest on. This is what this guest is talking, and then they will drill that guest for really penetrating questions, and then they will even say, "Hey, you know what? I just can't see it. I mean, I really appreciate your opinion, and yeah, it does look like things may be going that way, but I just can't see it. There's a bad feel about this whole thing. I think it's going to get dark. You know what? There are people like that. I'll name one now that I like. David Nino Rodriguez out of Texas. He's one that I admire because he tells people straight up. If he smells bullshit, he said, hey, man, you know what? I appreciate you being on my show, but that's a little, I just can't, I'm not there yet. I'm not where you're at. So that to me is maturity. But also, he's not one that's actually telling us when we listen to him that he's getting information from anybody. That's not his thing. All he's doing is talking to all the people who claim to have information. Sets him apart. There are others just like him that I admire, and there's some that are just out of there. So anyway, so you want another recommendation from me? I do like him. I also like the show Redacted. If any of you have ever heard of that news show, there's a news show called Redacted. Also, Australia's Sky News. Those two I listen to. You won't never catch me listening to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. None of them. None of them. So anyway, I'm full of recommendations tonight. All right. Anthony Palayo. Which of your playlists contain information regarding Jesus? I've got several videos on Jesus and all that. It's in the Dark Scriptures playlist. Prepare to have your Bible out. When you listen to the playlist, have your Bible out. It's very good when I go to dropping all those Bible verses to look them up. Make sure they say what I say they say. Let's see. Go back up here. Look at some of these. Wayward Pines. I haven't seen that. I mean, guys, it's not a mystery. I haven't seen hardly anything. So, Logan's Run is familiar. I ain't seen Born in a Prison. Yes, creepy movie, Crystal. The island is creepy. So, it's not just movies, guys. Comic books. I'm not a comic book fan, but man, so many people have told me and sent me emails of all the different comic books they've read. Wow, have you read this and this and this? Because your whole Phoenix deal sounds just like this. Man, I'm told that over and over. Nemesis X Object. Man, your chronology on the Nemesis X Object, it's this right here. It's in this comic book, such. I thought, wow. I said, so here are all these reveals, man. It's almost as if the entire truth is known. But it's revealed in fractals and in pieces, and we got to put it all together. So it's crazy. The Village. I haven't seen that. Isn't that Night Shalom guy? The Village? I might have seen part of that. Okay. Somebody brought it to my attention recently how before its time and how incredible. It was in the comment section of my channel. And it was a female. And all I remember is that she made some really good points, and I told her so, about Sylvester Stallone's movie Demolition Man, and how the ultra-conservative right took over the world, and everybody else was living in slums underground. And basically she was telling me that she sees exactly what I'm predicting, because you guys know that in my predictions video, I'm full tilt going forward. You know what I'm predicting. The left is being taken down. I've been predicting it for 2 years since I released those videos that this was coming. As soon as they removed Trump out of office, I told you guys that the left is going to be taken down. Big tech is going to be dismantled into controllable pieces. We're going to see a lot of heads of media get fired, change over. We're going to see a changing of the guard, and we're going to see leftist liberals hung out to dry, having no longer financial support. I told you guys we're going to see a complete weakening of the WEF. All this is on the table. It's all happening. We are in We are in the swing of the pendulum right now, and things are going to change fast. And we're going to go straight. We're going to go from leftist liberal to ultra-right conservative puritanical Christian. And you're going to see a whole different side of society and culture. And it's going to have, I mean, it's not going to be instant. The change from being basically free in America to our plunge into this liberal socialist pseudo-slavery, it wasn't fast. It was gradual over a period of time. The abridgment of rights, privileges, and immunities took a while. And but when it happened and when it hit its tipping point, we saw real fast in a 2-year period how they could do that to us, just basically enslave the world. And now the pendulum's going to swing the other way, and it's all by design, but it's going to look like a patriot movement, because when evil wants to disguise itself, it wears the cloak of the hero always. So anyway, speaking of hero, we have truth and fiction with the myth of Perseus. I've told you guys that in a video. I've got a video about Perseus. We have the beginning of the movie, The Clash of the Titans. That movie is based off actual ancient Bronze Age legends. Those legends are based on actual historical events. That historical event was the Phoenix Cataclysm of 1687 BC, otherwise known as the Flood of Archaix. Oh, and I was so excited when I was looking at that 1749 book, when I was flipping through that 1749 book that's featured on Static's channel. Yeah, man, the Archaigian deluge is in that book. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So let's see. Give me a train of thought. Perseus is the destroyer. Perseus in ancient Achaean Greek means destroyer. Andromeda is the queen. She gets saved, but they sacrifice her. They're going to put her out there. Cassiopeia was the queen, but Andromeda was the princess, and she was chained to a rock. The phoenix comes, but it's masked as the Kraken. And when the Kraken appears, the sky goes dark. Something covers the sun. This is in the Clash of the Titans. It shows the sun being covered, and the Kraken rises from the sea. Well, the Kraken is the great dragon. Typhon, it's another image of the sky dragon, but because the destruction is coming from the sea in the Clash of the Titans, what's destroyed first? Joppa. The whole legend starts with a tsunami that takes out the Canaanite city of Joppa. The city of Argos of the ancient Achaeans are terrified. Like, oh, we got to do something. So they sacrifice the princess. They don't kill her. They put her they chain her to a rock. Now, somewhere over the centuries, because this began a dark age, and during a dark age, literacy plummeted, and all this was conveyed by word of mouth. But somewhere, Andromeda had become chained to a rock, and Perseus had killed Medusa to use her head to kill the Kraken, turn it to stone. Well, the Kraken turned to stone because Phoenix does petrify or liquefy its victims. But we got something weird going on here, because the Medusa is actually a memory of the ancient Bronze Age institution of basically human sacrifice. They would give entheogens and some type of paralytic things like acacia spikes or something, and they would paralyze the victim to where they couldn't struggle and move. Maybe they made them smoke something, I don't know. But they would lay them down on an altar. They would be paralyzed before the people, so the people could watch. I don't know what the hell is going on here. Pinterest again? Get off my computer. So anyway, the people had to see that the sacrifice was voluntary, or it wouldn't work. Only a voluntary victim could assuage the anger of the gods. You can't make a deal with the gods under the ancient Bronze Age by sacrificing somebody who was not willing. That was murder. So, yeah, but a lot of the things people take for granted today, you think about the old world, it's not true. The old world had very high moral fabric. It did. So they would the priests would basically convey to the people that, of course, look, she's not struggling, she's not moving. Every bit of this is deal. And the people, being terrified at the darkening of the sun and the earthquakes, wouldn't even they don't care. Even if they suspect she's been drugged, they don't even care because they're terrified. So there are exigencies to every rule. Now, they would put a large squid on the face of the victim, and it would suffocate them. It would actually start eating their face, and those tentacles could be seen by the people, and the victim would asphyxiate. But this was the origin of the Medusa head story, this ancient Bronze Age institution of sacrifice. This was the type of sacrifice done during when Poseidon was thought to rule the seas. Poseidon was the god of the sea and earthquakes. And if you're going to assuage the anger of a god who would make the sea destroy your city and do it, and also the land shake so you don't have any protection, even if you're far away from the water, then the only way you can do it is by using the animals of the sea to assuage his anger. So they used a squid to take the life of a human sacrificial victim to stop the cataclysm. This is what the story of Perseus the Destroyer is saving Andromeda from this type of sacrifice. The squid was replaced with Medusa. Medusa was killed instead of Andromeda being hurt. Perseus comes out shining, but the princess is saved. Cassiopeia doesn't lose her daughter. Argos is saved, and the Kraken is defeated, and the sun reappears, and it's basically over. That's the story of Perseus and deal. It's fictions that convey facts. It's all about the Phoenix cataclysm, the flood of Ogyges in 1687 BC. So, and I'm leaving a lot. I'm really oversimplifying the whole legend. It goes into more detail than that. I know a lot of you as a kid, especially if you're my age, I know a lot of you watch Clash of the Titans, and you probably have an appreciation like I do that the original Clash of the Titans is far better than that crappy remake they did about 10 years ago. Hey, Jason, I'm on my first live. That's good. That's awesome. That's good. Man, chat's moving quick. Let me go up here to this chat. I know y'all are naming some good movies. So remember, it's not just, Jean Grey, the most powerful mutant from X-Men. Her alter ego is the Dark Phoenix. Oh, yeah? The power to turn any matter to vaporization dust. Where do they get these ideas? Night of the Comet. Eyes Wide Shut. I haven't seen that one either. I ain't seen that one up either. Guys, you got to understand, I'm kind of retarded with social media colloquials. I've seen hexagons mentioned 2 or 3 times over 2 videos. Does that mean something to you guys? Hexagons? Is that a group? Is that another group on YouTube or something? That's Crypto King said that, hexagons. Just something I noticed. We are creatures of pattern recognition. I'm going to notice it. Thank you, Darren. Alex Jones. What about Alex Jones? Oh, I understand why you mentioned Alex Jones. Yeah. So, yeah. You see, the intelligence agencies don't give a damn if the person that they're feeding, Charlie Ward or this other dude that has this, I can't remember, something consciousness from the UK, and he goes back and forth to the United States. Mel K, and, doesn't give a damn if that narrative collapses because it's decided higher up that they want to go this way instead. Then they leave this guy out to dry. He's made all these predictions and none of them come true. So, yeah, it's they don't give a damn about that. That's how they insulate themselves. Believe me, these people have been doing this for thousands of years. Don't think it's new. The same activity was going on during the Orphic and the Pythian oracles. People used to pay, they used to bring money and travel by foot all through the mountains of Greece to get to the Pythian oracle or the oracle of Dodona. Or Didymus. There's like 5 major oracles in ancient Greece, and they would go, and these places were special, but these were intelligence agencies. That's exactly what they were, because you got to understand, the priests were trained to gather information from every single visitor. When they went to the oracle to present their gifts, they were grilled by priestesses who asked them, told them it was necessary for the goddess or for the Pythoness. It was necessary to get all these details before she could give a proper reading or advice or go into a trance and experience a vision that she could give to the visitor. So they would bring gold, silver, they would bring cattle, they would bring bolts of cloth from Assyria. They would bring these things, ingots of bronze and brass or copper. Everything had value back then. And they would bring these and they would deliver them, and then they would go through a special session where priestesses or even clerks, monks and stuff would come forward and take all this information about what was happening in their hometowns, who was ruling at the time, well, what are the rumors going on in your part of the world, what's happening, have you been noticing anything on the sea? The goddess needs all these details. They would take all this information, they would take the presents that were brought to the oracle, and then the oracle would send them away every single time. This is how the mysteries were conducted also. These people would camp out sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks, and it's like an intelligence agency. They're doing this to hundreds of people at each one of these oracles. Then the oracles have runners that go all the way to other oracles and dispatch the same information. All the intelligence gathered by one oracle from hundreds of people is sent to the other oracles, and every oracle receives the intelligence reports from the other 4. And this network makes the oracles know everything about what's happening in Greece, Thracia, Macedonia, all through the Peloponnesus, everything to the Black Gates, to the Black Sea, all through the Dardanelles. They know everything about what's going on, the rumors of Crete, Sardinia, Italy. They know everything, even far away across the sea in Egypt, in Libya, in Mauritania. They know everything. They've heard from the ship captains and the mariners. The Phoenicians bring news everywhere they go. They got all this information. So with that information, then they call back the person that's asking the oracle, because they've got inside information now about what these 3 kings have got an alliance. They're going to take out this person here because they know when they do, all these other kings over here to the north will join their cause, so they can go down here and attack Athens. But they can't do it. They can't do it in force because they're worried about Sparta. So we have the situation of oracles, which are fictions, actually divulging facts. Then in accordance to the gifts that they were brought, if somebody brought some puny gift and all that, they would get an answer in accordance with the gift. If somebody brought a lot of wealth and had the capacity to bring a lot more wealth, if they were given good information and acted on it, then they would concentrate on that individual and give them epically good information, knowing that they're going to go act on it, knowing what's going to happen when they do act on it. So that gives them even more information to convey to other people when they come to bring gifts. This is how the oracles of ancient Greece were operated on. These oracles were inherited from the exact same system from the Egyptian priests of Sais, Thebes, Waset, Karnak, Luxor. Yeah, guys, Jason's done his homework. I've been reading all my entire life. I have read quite a few books from scholars all about the oracles. But and I can even give you recommendations once I go through my bibliography and remind myself what the titles of those books are called. But yeah, but they went through it was all theatrical though. They had some live, voluptuous woman, probably naked, and they drugged her, and she behaved really radically, and she spoke old dialects from foreign countries that nobody there could interpret, but there would be somebody there who did interpret it, even though he's not writing what she's saying, but they don't know that. and he would write out everything that the Pythonist just said. And then they would give it, and it would all be ceremony. Man, you just received exactly what divinity told us to write down, what she saw. And people would be amazed because all the time they were right. All the time they were right. So that's how it happened. That is the third. Yeah, I see the yen, 13,800. Listen, the oracles of Dodona and the oracles of all of them. I can't remember them all. I just named several of them a minute ago. Now I can't even name them. Listen, guys, that was their intelligence agencies in the past. Prior, they inherited those from Egypt and Canaan, because this is how the Phoenicians operated. This is how the Hurrians operated, because they all inherited it from their ancestors. And I've done videos about these people. They were called the Amuru. They were the Westerners after the cataclysm. These are the exact same people related by blood who over 15 centuries earlier, before the cataclysm, the collapse of the vapor canopy, were called the Anunna. I tell you guys a lot in my Anunna files. You guys got the blood of Anunna in your veins. Quit thinking the Anunnaki and Anunna are some big-headed, big-eyed alien things that, yeah, to me, there is nothing worse than the absolute garbage research of the ancient alien community. Yeah, you can quote Archaix on that. You can go to all those channels and say, I said that, because it is absolute garbage what is being put out as evidence for the ancient alien theory. Yeah. I have many videos explaining all this evidence and showing you how it's related to the Phoenix. Like, I even have a video showing you real popular Eric von Daniken and Zechariah Sitchin quote show this, the pyramid in Mexico where, well, in Central America, that show, I think it's Veracruz state, that shows the guy leaning back in a chair and he's blasting off in a rocket ship, and that's not what the sigils show. I have an entire video explaining what those symbols all mean and what's really happening. And even at the top, what everybody ignores when they're talking about ancient aliens is the picture of the Phoenix at the top. Yeah, it's all, whole thing's just crap. Whole thing's a Phoenix calendar. All right. Sammy Ahmed, thank you, man. He said, wow, a friend of mine kept telling me to check you out, and I was hesitant. That's good. I'm glad you're here, man. Here, you're either going to break free or die trying, or you're going to break out and tell people I'm a maniac. You're going to do one of them. You're going to do one of them. I don't know why I trigger some people. Some people just can't get over it. I did that little video because I like to share details of my life. I like to tell you what I'm doing, especially if there's been a hiatus and I haven't released a video in 3 or 4 days, which is not my habit. So I released that short video allowing you guys to see my property, allowing you to see that, hey man, this is what I'm doing. Look, I saved up 3 months worth of money. I got some pretty healthy donations during that time, but I also saved up money that I worked for, because I wasn't just laying up. So I saved up money for 3 months to get the new art studio shed, and it looks real nice. All my tools in there. I don't own it yet. I still got to make payments, but I did get it. I did pay for over 50% of that damn thing. But so I show that, and you guys already know I showed my motorcycle. Out of 350 something videos, maybe 360 videos, I think I've showed my motorcycle 3 times. And I'm not show off. And my van was used for van vlogs. So I wanted to show you in that video with my new art studio. I wanted to show you, hey man, look what I did to my van. I don't have the money to pay somebody else to come do that. That's $10,000, $12,000 worth of work. But I got a buddy who knows what he's doing with wood. And he did it, and I helped him, and I showed pictures of the interior. It's badass. Oh, I love that van now. It's no longer a contractor van. But I got this guy, and I'll name him. I don't care if y'all look him up. Tartarian Truth. I've already blocked him on the channel, and He's not coming back. I don't care. I don't care how many apologies he gives. But the man is releasing videos. Basically, I don't know what he's doing, man. I almost think he's got mental problems, but he's just releasing videos telling, oh, look what Archaix is doing with your donation money. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's the world. Hey, it takes all kinds, and the world is just full, absolutely full of people that just don't get it. Just don't get it. You're gonna hate on me. I used to live in a wooden shack, and I started a YouTube channel. I started releasing videos from a wooden shack where I lived. Yeah, man, busted my ass for 3 years laying flagstone to pay for stuff. Then my YouTube channel started taking off, and you're gonna hate on me. Some people are just lifeless. There's no saving them. The good place, huh? So I know you guys know, see, I know some of you guys know nursery rhymes, music lyrics. It's what I would really appreciate is when this video is over. The chat is great, but when this video is over, I would really appreciate those of you who mentioned songs, movies, books, anything that you think was conveyed as a fiction that actually masks truth. Put it in the comments section, because I know other errands are going to want to go through that list. It's going to keep them busy. Just like off the top of my head right now, I cannot enumerate every recommendation I just gave y'all today in books, in movies, television programs, other YouTube channels. I'm not going to be able to recollect every recommendation at the end of this video that I gave you guys. So put them in the comments section. What I did that so other people can see them. And yeah, we help each other out. Square Peg, I'm going to go back and listen to your video. Square Peg released a live video earlier today. As a matter of fact, she doesn't know this, but it's the reason why I did not come on till after, because I saw her notifications. In her notifications, she had told everybody we're going to be live at a certain date. So I decided, you know what, man, I'm just going to go later. I'm just going to wait till hers is over and go later. Let's see. Great connection. That's good. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to get rid of this internet. This internet sucks. I will. Matthew moved into a house within walking distance from me. I helped him move some of his stuff in. First thing he did is get a router out, got his router going, looked on his meter. He had 350 megabytes per second. I'm like, what the hell? What do you got? He said, man, I pay $30 a month for my internet. I said, you got to be kidding me. I'm paying $55 a month for internet, and I only have 100 megabytes per second. That's what happens. That's what happens when a redneck goes into a T-Mobile trying to get a deal. Yeah, that's what happened to me. So I'm about to change to his internet, because for $50 a month you get 500 megabytes per second. That'll be good. But you got to understand too, I'm about to start doing live videos with Matthew on my side. Matthew's going to be right here doing live videos. We're setting the studio up. Jay and some others have sent me some really good books that are going to be on the shelves back there, because this studio here is my treasury studio. A lot of the books that Jay and other people have sent me are on behind me. Very old. But I got books books I'm getting now are older and older. I'm getting a nice collection behind me. I got more to put on the shelves. But I have removed every book from this studio that's from 1961 and higher. So it's yeah, all the way to the present. Everything behind me is from 1960 on back. But the studio that you'll see with me and Matt, it's going to have bookshelves too, but it's going to be all the more modern books that are about ancient things and ancient books. You know, like Graham Hancock and things like that. I didn't know. I never heard of Cosmic Sugar. You're saying Logan of Decode Your Reality has another channel called Cosmic Sugar? I've never heard that. I didn't even know that. Didn't even know that. Also, for you guys that don't know, I made an announcement in the Discord group. because we have a Discord chat group. I haven't been participating because I'm just really too busy and I need help. And once Matt and I are fully invested in the studio, once he's fully moved in, and once a week, we're going to be devoting a couple hours a week just to doing the video discussions in what is it, Discord or Discord? One of them. But those guys got a pretty good group. They've been weeding out all the morons. You guys already know I deal with morons every week. Morons get in my chat every week. People who don't even know that I've already gone through my criminal history in 3 different presentations. One of them was a podcast with 4 guys. I just went ahead and just revealed everything while I was in prison. So it's new people that come to the group. Yeah, they go straight on the attack, not even knowing that, I've already been through this. Yeah, I'm 49 years old. I'm done saying sorry. And it's just simple as that. People get triggered by that. They're more than welcome to believe. I do believe YouTube has 300,000 channels. Let's see. Owen Benjamin is a name I know, but I don't know who he is. I see somebody mention him. Yeah, sea kelp. Sea kelp. Oh, sea kelp. Okay, as in kelp. Sea kelp. The typhon. If you don't know this from my presentations, typhon is the fiend, and fiend is Noph in Egyptian. Noph is the Egyptian phoenix, and yeah, phoenix and typhon are the exact same thing. Typhonius, Thothschild. Oh my God, that's almost like Rothschild. Almost like. So yeah. See that list. Music. Anyway, the nursery rhymes and the fairy tales, the song lyrics, the movies, the books. Yeah, things you guys see. Yeah, that's what I'd be interested in. And if you haven't seen Demolition Man, you might want to go back. It's an old classic. You might want to go see that one. That's definitely on the table. JJ Recon, Jason interview Graham Hancock. That will never happen. You know what? It's not because he's so high up there. It's I have legitimate chronological problems with Graham Hancock and almost every single author that he cites or he's basically academically allied to. That entire group of men that are putting all those books out, I just, you know what? Yeah, I'm not with it. Eric Don Vaniken, Zechariah Sitchin, another one, Billy Carson. Yeah, I'm not doing interviews with none of those guys. I mean, they can invite me and I wouldn't do it. I mean, for what? I mean, you're not, as soon as you tell me you're going to entertain something that you believe somebody lived 35,000 years, or if you believe like Atlantis was in 10,800 BC, I'm not trying to hear any of that. None of that can be shown archaeologically. None of it can be shown anthropologically. Not a bit of it can be shown chronographically. There's nothing in text anywhere found in the entire world that can even justify or show that. However, Jason of Archaix can quote several ancient authors and show you that none of those dates go back that far, because it's entirely a different method of counting time. Even in Plato's day, there were scholars, and we have their writings today, and they wrote that as total bullshit. There was no 9,000 years before Solon that there was an Atlantean civilization. It was 9,000 lunations. And the Egyptians counted by the moon. They did not count the actual years. This is why, and anybody can Google this, but this is why there has never been, ever in the history of the world, ever published or ever found, and no scholar will ever say that there has been ever a timeline of Egyptian history. It doesn't exist, because every pharaoh started a new calendar. Every single one of them. And what we had to do was basically separate fact from fiction, because we have a problem when it comes to Egyptian history. And that problem is when do we switch over to a new dynasty? Because it's very hard to tell kings apart when their milk names are mixed with their dynastic names are mixed with their throne names, and their throne names are mixed with their their actual titles of which are given to them by the people or politically for deeds that were done on the battlefield. So one pharaoh may have ruled 43 years, but he's got 6 different names and titles. And over and over, we find new published research from different diggings that are going on in the Valley of the Kings or in Luxor and Karnak, and we find out, oh, wait a minute, this pharaoh is actually this person too. So we have this huge problem. There has never been any ancient authors who ever showed an unbroken linear timeline of history of the pharaonic dynasties. They haven't. Excuse me. Now, in the Alexandrian library, that's when they first attempted to do this. One of them was Manetho. Manetho wrote, and he combined all these ancient Egyptian histories and combined them. But Manetho made a lot of the mistakes that 400 and 500 years earlier the Greek scholars were warning people about. They were warning people about when you measure Egyptian histories, do not count in years, count in lunations, because that's what makes everything in Egyptian history equal that of Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, Urartu, the Hittite Anatolia, the ancient Greeks, the kingdom of Mycenae, all the way down to the war for Ilium, which you know of as the Trojan War. So this separation of fact from fiction is not what you get from Graham Hancock. And you can tell him I said that. I don't care. I don't care. I've read all those books. I've read Hancock's books. I've read Andrew Collins' books. I've read Robert Bauval's books. Listen, these guys will never agree with me in anything because they're too invested. They have already put out this fictitious 10,000 BC Lesser Dryas Ice Age theory that the Great Pyramid was built all the way back then. No. We have the exact chronographical evidence, proofs, and data from ancient texts of when the vapor canopy fell. We know that the vapor canopy falling was the Great Flood. We have it in chronology. I have shown in my videos from multiple different mathematical vantage points, citing numerous texts, that the Great Flood happened in the year 1656, and that 1656 is the year 2239 BC. So many different references from so many different parts of the world, so many different chronologies, and backed up by modern chronologies, all the way from Rashi 1,000 years ago to modern times, Immanuel Velikovsky, and especially Stephen Jones, biblical chronologist. Everybody lines perfectly. And then there's Frank Joseph. I love Frank Joseph. I will never put Frank Joseph in the same category as the Grahamites. I won't do it. Frank Joseph, I highly recommend every single book the man has wrote. Love that man. Frank Joseph has some really good chronological data. I am very impressed with how close he gets on a lot of especially his Trojan War stuff and the invasion of the Sea Peoples. So there's also it's just a huge problem that we will never come to. They will never be able to dismantle everything they have already built in order to meet me face to face with all my chronological data. They will have to ignore so much chronological material, and in so doing, they would have to admit that these 15 books I had published here are bullshit. Each author would have to admit all these books are bull. They will never agree with me. In fact, I would foresee that they would come together once my channel takes on more traction. Once I actually release a modern book. All my books were written 15, 16, 17 years ago. They would not be the same as if I wrote them today. They wouldn't be. The chronological information would be exact duplicate. It would be the same, but they would be just, you guys understand. There's even been an evolution with my video presentations. From the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I just had the data. But Many of you have noticed I have refined my ability to discourse exactly what I know and convey it in such a way that people can wrap their minds around it. This is something that's come by 2.5, 3 years of doing this. So those men have the luxury of basically saying that, well, his data comports with mine. They can all point to each other, but not one of them can point to ancient text and back their theories up chronologically. This is where Archaix comes in, because I'm going to tell you now, it's really simple. Either Archaix is 100% right in the chronological material, which makes every single one of these authors, man, full of bullshit, or I'm absolutely wrong, and there is no truth. Because anybody who puts a chronological template of world history together like I have and backs it up with all kinds of sources that have nothing to do with me and they all correlate, then that means God is a trickster and every one of us are doomed. There's just no way. Too many coincidences exhibits no coincidence at all. There's just way too much data here to deny. So anyway, get off. Let me change position, man. Get off my little. You triggered me. I ain't gonna lie. You triggered me with that Graham Hancock statement. I believe that was JJ Recon. I don't know where the statement is. It's gone now. I don't know where it's. I know it's in there somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, I remember that. Release the Kraken. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I like for those of you following all those narratives, like Nicholas Veneeman, I believe that's his name. I like that guy because I told you guys from in the past. Those of you who know me by watching me from long habit, I fall in love with personalities. I mean, people, you can be a faceless individual, man. I get your personality by what you comment, what you say. The architecture of your personality is revealed in the way you convey your thoughts. So I fall in love with personalities. Well, I watch Nicholas Veneeman, man, like, oh man, I really like this guy. I put him on the same category as I do Nino. Him and Nino is the exact same. These are guys trying to figure out what's going on, and they're going to tell you if they disagree or something smells fishy, and they're going to tell you your opinion if they really liked what that guest said or not, but they don't claim to have special information. That's the key. That's the key. Because remember, I mean, you guys already know, I have to put myself in the position basically on the same plateau as them, because I don't claim to have any special information. I have never once ever told you guys that I have a handler that's telling me all these things. No. Remember, I don't like to tell you guys shit. I like to show it to you. That's why my predictions playlist shows you the precise method I use to make my predictions so you can do it for yourself. And if there's anybody here that can verify that, it's Square Peg Divergent. And I know she's still in the thread, hanging on it. She's like this, hanging on every word. Is he going to mention me again? Is he going to? I love you, girl. I'm just teasing. But yeah, Nicholas Veneeman, I like him. Mel K, no, not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. There's so many. Oh, and then there's listen. Oh my God, how Michael Jaco, whatever. Okay, check this out. This guy has charisma. This guy has personality. He's the perfect individual to put forth information. He's one of them that claims he's got special information. Oh, I got it from a good source. I got it, my guy tells me, listen, he's openly admitted he used to be CIA. If anybody knows anything about the intelligence apparatus, once you are a member, you are always a member. Yeah, it's just like a gang. It's blood in, blood out. Don't think for a minute that they're going to let you walk and then get on YouTube channel and reveal stuff. Come on, man. That's not a red flag. It's a drapery. That's crazy. Michael Jaco, if you're listening to me, hey, man, hats off to you, man. You fooled a lot of people. But, yeah, I'm not trying to hear it. And what's sad about it is he was probably told by his handlers, hey, man, check this out. Go ahead and retire, but we need somebody out there to do soft disclosures. We know you're a patriot. Here's Michael Jackal, probably, you know. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I would love to do that. I love my American patriot people, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, we just need you for soft disclosures. We'll be leaking information to you so you can tell the public, and you can do it through your deal. And you can even tell the public, hey, man, you used to be CIA. Man, I can do that. Yeah, you can do that. You know, we can get somebody out there on the battlefield, and we'll know you're an ally, and you'll be able to get information out for us that we need to get out without you know, the enemy really understanding what's going on. Hell yeah, Michael Jackal might be absolutely innocent. Hook, line, and sinker, understanding his role as soft disclosure. But yeah, he's being used like all these other ones being used. I'm not trying to hear that. So like I said, I make a huge distinction between those people who claim to have intel, like that dude Consciousness something. I'll never remember his name. And old Charlie was Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward's got a lot of charisma too. I love his jovial nature. But you know what? They could be my hands could be tied behind my back, and I'll be blindfolded right before they cut my head off, while I'll still be thinking about Charlie Ward's information, everything he told me. That's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was JJ Recon. You're the one that triggered me about that Graham Hancock deal. I got one of his books in my library right now. Assassin's Creed. I don't have that on my list. I'm talking about video games. I don't have video games on my list. I had everything else, movies and comic books and Olympic ceremonies and music videos and music lyrics, television programs. What else is on I got a list over here on my desktop. Nursery rhymes, fairy tales, legends. The one thing I didn't have was video games. You're absolutely correct. I've gotten 3, maybe 4 emails in the past year that all told me about Assassin's Creed. Has a lot of information that I convey in my Archaix videos. That is really interesting. Soft disclosures through video games. Wow. Lucy Salat. It's acacia bark, not root. Okay, I'll buy that. I knew it was acacia something. I remember a lot of what I read. I just don't remember it all. That is true, Daniel. A voluntary victim isn't a victim by definition. Yeah, but the whole sacrifice deal was an ancient Bronze Age institution. They actually believed that giving the life over to giving a human life would appease the gods and stop them from a storm, a drought, too much rain, the threat of an enemy invasion. Yeah. 2046, square peg. The Hopi prophecy, inhabited structure crashing the earth. This is called Blue Kachina, and the Hopi believed that it had people on it and that it was going to crash into the earth. This is the end. You got to understand, the Hopi are related to the Maya. This is the end of the Mayan long count. The 1,872,000th day of the 13 Bactans is November 1st, 2046. It is not 2012. It never was 2012. And for my new listeners, in 2011, my book was published, Anunnaki Homeworld. I have an entire chapter about the Mayan long count showing that it never ended in 2012. It ends in 2046. But the media was pushing the 2012 craze. So I didn't sell a lot of books until after it was over. Just like Y2K. I was telling everybody Y2K ain't shit. Nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Apocalypto is a fantastic movie. I did see that movie. Very violent. It is not for somebody who doesn't want to see realistic old world violence. Apocalypto is yeah. You're not going to want to see it. Odin Stone, you're absolutely right. I always had a problem pronouncing that word. Humorism. I'm not even going to try. No. Aoi, it's Mason. No, I am not Enoch reborn. Absolutely not. I am Jason. I'm just I take it as a matter of pride. I am just very well read. Heterodox agnostic. You're right. It's pretty nasty. That's where Medusa comes from. You know, that might have been Kingston, Lairdoc. These old scholars from the late 1880s, 1890s, all the way to 1920s, that era of scholarship is unmatched. You get any books. My library is full of them. You get any books on history or breakdowns of mythology from that period, like Gerald Massey's Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, The Natural Genesis. You get your hands on any of those books, you better read them. Yeah, man, gospel truth. These men knew ancient history. The Apocalypto was gruesome. Clash of the Titans, that's crazy. Yeah, 12,900 years ago, 10,800 years ago, they all got different deals. Look, for those of you who don't know, the Archaix data starts at 5239 BC. That may not be the beginning. That may not be the beginning of the simulacrum. It may not. But from the chronological perspective, there is absolutely nothing that we have that goes before that date that is a part of a contiguous timeline that can be shown all the way to today. Now, I have shown in hundreds of charts how the 600th year great year, it started in 5239 BC. Now, there is a Chronicon project undergoing right now where people are editing and digitizing Chronicon. So it's no longer called Anunnaki chronology. That's what I used to call it, but it's not really relative to the Anunnaki. It's really relative to Nemesis cataclysm. So it's now the Nemesis chronology. It's every 600 years. Remember, I've got videos that show that the ancient world was fixated. They almost worshipped a 600-year period. And I show in these videos that there is an academic movement today to discredit this and try to make it look like the 600-year period never existed. I don't know why they have this vested interest in trying to show this, especially when in the Archaix data, I show so many sources that it did exist and it was venerated. And it's also in the Bible. So, yeah, we got some really, really interesting calendar. Believe me, I just got started, guys. Those 3 videos I did of me drawing charts, that's just the beginning. I'm done with the Phoenix. Now I'm going to go into other ancient calendars, and then I'm going to start putting them all together. And once they're all put together on one single chart, you're going to see the architecture of the simulacrum itself. I've already seen it. It's pretty damn interesting. Pretty damn interesting. That's right, Crystal, Jason, and the Argonauts. You guys are all allowed on my ship. Yes, it was. Rockefeller schooling is meant to dumb us down. There's no doubt. Mel Gibson's a good guy. Believe that. Mel Gibson's one of the good guys. He's not the only one. Believe me, guys. I've told you, I mean it from the depths of my heart. I mean it when I tell you in my videos that we have a benefactor, and that benefactor must be sufficiently powerful enough to keep the elite from doing what they really want to do. Over and over and over, people are always barraging me with this negative default programming attitude they have about, oh man, you preach a good message, man, but this can't be true because this is happening, or this can't be true because this is happening. But listen, you don't have an iron collar on your neck. You can go out right now, walk 4 blocks over, walk into a store, buy what you want to, and you don't have to go home. You can walk somewhere else, go talk to people, meet new people. You don't have to do that. This slavery programming that you live through every single day is entirely of your own making. You can break free. You can break pattern and experience something totally new every single day. I say in my earlier videos, I used to say it a lot. Every single moment is pregnant with possibilities. But if you're going to be negative and you're going to talk about how bad the world is, the simulacrum is a neutral field. It doesn't care if you're right or wrong. It's going to reflect back as phenomena that you're going to experience in your life that comports with what you project into it. It's very fair and it's very equitable. So you got to be very careful with your negativity and where you direct it, because you are an informed field and you are very, very powerful. So before you affect the lives of others and affect your life in a way from which you reach a point of no return, you got to be careful with that negativity. Negative default programming and dungeon programming are very real phenomena. This is a message on my channel that I'm very stringent about getting that message out, because people have to understand they got to wake up. He says you can break free because it's very easy to do, but you got to want to. You've got to completely ignore the negativity of your life and move in another direction. Remember, you're not dealing with a field that you have to overcome. No, you're dealing with a field that's going to reflect things back to you. It's a neutral field. So use your informed field wisely. Build things for yourself, and then use your avatar to move in that direction. The beauty of it is you don't have to build anything physically. You just move in the direction you want, and the simulacrum will accept the fact that you're expecting certain things to occur, so it will make those things occur. Yeah, man, you got to break free of that negativity. I'm not borrowing your negativity. And that's why when people come to my channel with all that negativity, I give them one chance. I will answer. You guys know I take screenshots of all of them, because one day I'm going to release those videos. Or I might not. I might let them make it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot of screenshots of people coming to my channel triggered, saying this, and then I answer them, and the next thing I know, the comment's gone. So, you know what? I don't know. I give people a shot. But if they get real ignorant with me, boop, yeah. This is cancel culture. Believe that. You can come to Archaix and get canceled. It will happen. I haven't watched Free Guy. I haven't. Let's see. There was a Archaix Aaron's get together in Florida, the second one recently. I got pictures of it. I thought that was pretty cool. One of these days, y'all see me in my van pulling a motorcycle trailer coming through there. I'll be in Florida. Square peg. You ought to look at all of them. 1998 is not the only one. You'll find some beautiful stuff if you start doing them all at the same time, and then look at the exact dates when they transect. Use 1980, 1998 as an epicentral year, but also use 1973. Don't forget 1962, 1902, and 1890. If you use all of those and go backward and forward in time and analyze the dates, it's when the ripples of one event coalesce with the ripples of another event. When those ripples from two different isometric deals, that's when you're going to see some really interesting things. And I don't have the time to do all that, so I'm going to rely on you to do it. When I was in prison, I had all the time in the world. I used to do all these experiments. I used to live calculator in my hand. That's all. Every day I would be in the day room, on the cell block, on the rec yard. Everybody knew what Jason was doing. I had a book, had a calculator. Get out of my business. Oh, also, I always had coffee with me. Anybody who's done time, you already know. Coffee is how we do it. Judy Pearson. Could the scripture, straight is the way and narrow is the gate, be the exit gate out of the matrix? I've heard when we die, go toward the lights. Okay, you're talking about soul trap theory. I'm not on board with that. I am not on board with that. As a matter of fact, I've got somebody today trying to convince me in an email why I'm wrong and that there is a soul trap and that there's evidence of a soul trap. I'm not trying. The whole concept offends me. It's I've given the reasons why in so many different live videos and podcasts why I believe that we're living life sims and it's for the development of the immortal soul and that there's no escape in between life sims. You're going into the next life sim. You're here until the benefactor sets the captives free. If there was a escape in between life sims, there would be no need for a benefactor. There would be no need for a whole layering of eschatology that refers to someone in the ancient past who entered the construct to come in here to make sure that we had deliverance in the future. A Trojan program, something that was going to deactivate this confinement, this simulacrum. So, yeah, this almost all the religions have this story told in different ways. But the idea that if Jason dies right now, if somebody comes here and shoots me in the head and whatever, if I die, that I don't even know if the idea even comes before the movie Poltergeist, but I don't know where the idea came from, but all of a sudden, my spirit has a choice. I'm now floating through the spirit world. And as I'm floating through the spirit world, I see a light. If I go toward the light, it's a trap. I'm recycled back in. Man, that's okay. If that's the case, then God's a demon, 100%. So, no, man, I'm not believing. I'm not falling for that. Not at all. It's first of all, I am never going to assume a premise that adopts the fact that as a spiritual being, I'm powerless. I'm not trying to hear that. I am powerless as an avatar. I am trapped in an avatar right now. I'm my flesh suit. I'm trapped in that, passing through a physical medium or what is perceived to be physical in this holographic construct. But when I'm free of this avatar, no, man, I volunteered for this. I'm going into the next life sim. This might be my last because I'm convinced that the curse that we have been living through for thousands of years ended in 1901. And I'm convinced by many reasons. My last video on the Phoenix chart, I showed that. Yeah, the curse was over in 1901. And this is why in 1902, all of a sudden, all these technologies, corporations, all this stuff just exploded onto the world scene. Not because they were invented in 1902, but because they have been repressed up until 1902. Because every time we've pulled out all our technology and did all okay, we get hit with a reset. Finally, in 1902, it was realized that resistance was over. They got a pass. Now it's time to go. From the very beginning, I've always assumed, from my very first Phoenix video, I have always told you guys that there is a group among the elite who know about the Phoenix. They understand it is a weapon and they understand how to work around it. I said all that in my first video. Everything else has been showing you more and more layers of this phenomenon. So the curse was over in 1901, and that curse was the one that's mentioned in Genesis. Genesis recorded it well. Because of the fall of man, mankind basically broke free from his masters. Then mankind was cursed. Okay, we're not going to give you things no more. You're not going to live in this beautiful world where you can just eat whenever you want to and you don't have to work for anything. Now you're going to toil the ground. Now you're going to work. Now the ground is going to have to be worked hard so it can produce. Now you're going to have to learn canal works and irrigation and agrarian knowledges. You're going to have to know all these things, and that's exactly what happened. But every time mankind tries to come together and build an infrastructure that allows for a sedentary life, after a few decades of living in this great civilization, hit with a cataclysm, reset over and over. This is the history of the world. Reset after reset after reset after reset. And during these resets, there are periods when we develop air conditioning, when we develop hydromancy, when we develop how to store electricity in clay pots. We develop all kinds of things, and we see this in the archaeological record. The U parts, out of place artifacts, have been found all around the world. This is the story of the human race under the curse. But since 1902, it's been a different story. The script has changed. Now, all of a sudden, we've been absolutely allowed freely to move with accelerated punctuation more and more and more and faster and faster and faster in the development of our technologies, in the advancement of our knowledge. 1902, we haven't stopped. It doesn't matter. The great flu that killed a large portion of the world didn't stop us. World War I didn't stop us. World War II didn't stop us. No, the great genocides of Cambodia, of China, of Russia, and yes, of Germany, which you never hear about because the victors of a war write the histories. But there were many people who left us accounts of what was really going on. Now, these great genocides, they didn't stop us either. We became more and more technologically advanced. Look at our infrastructure today, especially here in Texas. Every amenity, we got everything. I mean, people are bored with life. We have so much stuff now. So, and we have so much technological sophistication right here. So, it's everywhere because there's been no resets since 1902. Was the way 1800s like that? Hell no. As soon as the Napoleonic Wars were over with in the early 1800s, we got hit with the great Madrid quakes of 1811 and 1812. Then the 1820s, the 1830s, great cataclysms, earthquakes, 1850s, 60s, 70s. We have nothing. This great civil war between the states. Then all of a sudden, the 1870s, great Krakatoa, 1880s. We have all these great, grand, massive disasters throughout the 1800s, almost as if all the energy from cursing humanity for thousands of years that wasn't unleashed when it could have been unleashed, all of a sudden it's getting it all out now because in 1902 it knows it's over with. And after 1902 there are no more cataclysms. Everything after 1902 is very regional. It's very highly specific to a locale when a disaster. And the rest of humanity, 99.9% of the rest of humanity never suffers what one little area suffers. A lot changed in 1902, and I have videos to prove that. I got all kinds of evidence of all the different changes, not just in the weather and in the conditions and volcanism, but even in human behavioral society as well. Things changed in 1902. Something was lifted, and according to Stephen Jones, biblical chronologist, in his book, The Secrets of Time, another recommended book, especially if you're Christian. This is a very Christian book, but The Secrets of Time by Stephen Jones shows that 1902 was the last cursed earth period of 414 years. And many of you know that number. 414 is 138 times 3. It's a Phoenix number. So I didn't mean to go into all these tangents. We were talking about movies. We're supposed to be talking about all that stuff. Let's see here. Oh, 979 likes. Can I get 1,000, please? 20 people in the chat. I would love to have 1,000 likes. Thank you, guys. Oh, we're going to hit it. 982. I got to drink to that. What side I'm going to drink? I'm going to drink to the coherent errant side. Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. I appreciate you dignifying me with a thumbs up. Oh, and don't think I'm not a capitalist. Some of you can dignify me with a coffee, because I equally appreciate that too. Oh, I need to acknowledge. I don't know how to pull these up. I don't know how to do this with my cursor. But hey, those of you who donated to me tonight, I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. You're going to help me pay for this art studio, no doubt, no doubt. I can't even go up all the way up in the thread to find everybody who did that. Thank you, Joe Johnson. I can't. Yeah, it won't let me go that high. For my members, I got some more emojis. I got some more emojis coming out, some really cool ones. Oh, I got Sybil, Druid, Oracle, and Tome Warden. Tomes are ancient books. Those are coming out. Wow, 1,100 likes. Thank you, guys. I got those coming out. Jahar Ali. Clash of the Titans gave me my first nightmare. It was creepy in the late 70s, man, when we watched that movie. It was creepy. I was a little kid. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to see all my tattoos. I got my whole body tattooed except above the neck, my hands, my head. I kept my face clear. I wanted to be able to be presentable in public, but all the way down to my feet, not my butt cheeks. You don't let guys tattoo your butt cheeks in prison. But everything else, I'm done. I got it all done. I am a walking tattoo. As a matter of fact, I show all my tattoos in a video. One of my videos in the past. And for those of you who want to get nosy, one of my videos in the past actually has pictures of me as a child. Also as a teenager, right before I went to prison. Yeah, sure does. I got a video that shows all that. I got another video that shows all my work. Paradise Rock Gardens work. Koi ponds, swimming pools, driveways on Flagstone. Hell yeah, all my contract work. Oh, that video also shows all my oil and gas stuff. Shows me at the facilities doing the different things on the different machines. I was a longitudinal fin machine welder. I was also a CNC. Man, I can't believe it's been so long now. I operated CNC pipe threader. The most important machine on a pipe yard. It's called a pipe yard, but it's actually like 20 acres of buildings and all that. But I show the actual pictures of me operating the machine, thread the pipes. Raw pipe goes in the machine. I use the CNC controls, and I get the pipe spinning at high revolution, and I drop a blade on it, and it peels into a thread, a pipe thread, that silver pipe thread. And it's measured. I got to pull out my micrometer, and I got to measure the thread count. I got to make sure it's all good. So, yeah, I worked oil and gas. Yeah, YouTube is a new thing for me, guys. I'm really a hands-on. I'm really a jack of all trades. I'm not a master of none, but there's very, very little I just don't do carpentry, masonry, specialized masonry, like flagstone and a lot of finish work. But yeah, that's what I do. And before that, I was a machinist in the oil and gas industry. No, they don't. Trill in Phoenix, you're right. Texas prisons do not have air conditioning. You're absolutely correct. I used to sweat on my paperwork all the time. Lano, Texas, in the house. Slim Kekai, interview Stephen Jones, ? Listen, I've already sent Stephen Jones an email because somebody who knows Stephen Jones told him about my research and how I have used his chronology to show this the exact same thing as the Phoenix chronology. Now, so I sent the man an email, even though I was told he's very busy. I am not offended by that because I'm very busy as well. And I also understand that he is coming purely from a Christian background all of his entire life. And I do not hold it against him that he would not want to actually do an interview with me, no matter how much I plug his book and his research. I'm cool with that. I'm comfortable with that. I do not take offense at all. Cool with that. But if he wants to, yeah, we could definitely chop it up. I got no problem with that. Yeah, but don't think I didn't send him an email. I sure did. Oh, I've already got a tattoo tour. I told you I've already got a video that shows all my tattoos. Jason, what do you think of the Hadron Collider? I think it's another tax like NASA. Yeah, those colliders aren't smashing atoms together no more than NASA sending anything into space. Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Phoenix is the flag standard. the object atop the flagpost of many federal offices around the world. Brock Lucas, you're absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, you will find, Brock, that it is absolute fact that very quietly in the year 1902, the federal government changed the Great Seal of the United States, which was never made public until 1935. But they changed the seal of the United States from the Phoenix to the Bald Eagle. Yep, they did that in 1902, the Phoenix year. And for those new to my channel that don't know about it, Caesar Ramadi found a new manuscript tucked away in a European library. It's been authenticated. It is a new Nostradamus manuscript. He published a book. I cite it. I tell you everything that's in it. And in that new Nostradamus manuscript, Nostradamus mentions not only the year 1901, but he mentions the Phoenix. It's very interesting. Maybe it was 1903. Nostradamus didn't mention 1902. He mentioned 1901 or 1903. It was one of those two dates. Just lean into it. Bro, you've had 4 million plus views. Yeah, I have. For a 50,000 channel, that is crazy town. Listen, I've already discussed that in another podcast. I was explaining to my listeners that just because somebody has 300,000 subs doesn't mean they're a successful channel. It goes by how many times somebody watches the same video. When you put out videos that are of the quality that require people to cogitate over them and they want to go back because it's interesting and they're like, man, I want to learn this. And your videos are more like lessons, not trying to shove stuff down people's throats. It boosts your analytics. My analytics are off the chart because so many people go back and re-listen to the same videos over and over and over. And of course, this allows YouTube to put ads at the beginning of those videos over and over and over. So, yeah, you're right. 4 million views is pretty good for 50,000 subs. I appreciate that. I will take that as a compliment. You're an agrarian spirit, huh? Old paths are the best. Old paths are the best. Your name is Gerhard A. Hustler. Listen, there's 2 occult maxims. One of them, go by unexpected ways. Another one is walk unfrequented paths. I live by both of those. People, listen, I already know how some of my neighbors look at me. They look at me weird because I have these little habits that are basically edited into my behavioral patterns. I don't walk the same. I got 4 lots. My property's 4 lots, all totally fenced in. Got a lot of trees. I don't do the same things day after day after day. I take different routes even on my own property to get to something else, get to my generator, get to wherever I got to go. I do that even when I'm on my motorcycle and I'm just trying to decompress. The best way for me to break pattern when I've been on a computer all day, when I've been doing this, when I'm doing that, the best way for me to do that is to say, man, you know what? I get on my bike, put on my goggles, I'm gone. I'm just gone. And I'll hit roads that I've never been down before. And sometimes they dead end on people's ranches and all that. Now I meet people and I'll turn around, I'll burn off. I've passed out my cards to a lot of people, and there may be people listening to me right now that I've met that way. Like these right here, I have, my God, how can I not find anything when I need to find it? Oh, here it is, right here. I've got, that's the backside. I've got new business cards. These used to say Paradise Rock Gardens owner, and all my information from my website on Paradise Rock Gardens. They don't say that no more, because I don't do that anymore. I still own the company, and I still got guys doing it, but I really don't make any money anymore. I'm letting somebody take it over because it's a lot of work, and he deserves that money. But yeah, this is my new card. It's back, the back, but yeah, it's everywhere I go and I meet people. Sometimes I'm wearing these shirts. I got several, but several that people have sent me that are Archaix related, and I've even done some silly stuff. I've even walked up to people when I was wearing my white shirt that shows that real colorful world chart of all the calendars synced together into one calendar, ending in 2040 and 2046. It says Archaix.com and break free or die trying on the bottom. I've even walked up to people in a gas station. I walked up to two girls in a gas station one time, and I just felt that they would be friendly. I walked up to them. Did you ask me about this chart? Let me tell you about it. And both of them just cracked a smile, looked at me like I was crazy, and I pulled my business cards out. Says, "Hey, I'm Jason. I give these dissertations on YouTube all the time, and I'm always explaining this right here. And I know that 5 minutes after I leave this gas station, you're going to wonder who I am and what the hell was on my t-shirt, because you're not going to remember. So you're going to have to look at that business card and check me out." I did that one time at a gas station. One of them might be listening right now, but you never know. I'm all about breaking pattern. I'm all about doing things that are different. Because it's necessary. Repetition is the creation of a reality tunnel. Once that reality tunnel is forged for you, it takes more effort to get out of it. This is what a habit is. A habit is a reality tunnel. You gotta, once you're flowing down through that, it's hard, man. Yeah, these like the flu, in the early 20th century, and World War I, World War II, the genocides of China, the genocides China, Germany deal. I don't mean to leave anybody out, but somebody made a comment here. They're absolutely correct. Genocide has been ongoing in Africa. So in my video I released a couple days ago about the curse being lifted in 1901, I'm explaining that 1902 began, the restraints were taken off, but it's not what you think. Now good and evil have equal play. Now order and chaos are unleashed, and there's no restraints whatsoever. There's a soul harvest going on. For thousands of years, we've been living these life sims. For thousands of years, we're shuttled right back in. I don't believe in the soul trap. I don't believe anybody's been able to go anywhere at all. I believe that we've been recycled all the way up, living life sims. These kids get studied by these doctors, and it comes to find out they have memories of living in this family here. Yeah, I've told you guys in past videos, I have to take that into consideration and include that as part of my paradigm now, because what is true for one will be true for all. So yeah, I can't compartmentalize like that. So once I agree that these scientific reports are legitimate and these kids are remembering intimate details of having lived another avatar in a very local life right there in just a few years earlier, but the perspectives are not childlike. The perspectives are those of an elderly. Therefore, they were old in this other family. They died, and here they are within a mile, and another family that knows the other family. They're here. They pop up, and this I cannot ignore that type of data. That right there tells me, okay, cool. And because in my logic won't let me distinguish them from the many. No, what's true to one is true for all. So we are living these life sims, whether we remember them or not, whether we're the subject of an experiment or not. We're living the life sims. But in 1902, that ended. Now everybody who has ever lived in the entire simulacrum history, every single individual who's been suffering these life sims, going through and all this, and developing their immortal spirits between each life sim. Because remember, I've told you guys, the memory wipe is only temporary. It's attached to the temporary avatars. But once you receive your real avatar, which your spirit will inhabit, memory is holographic. It's in the field. It's not in the brain. So all your experiences come back to you once you are truly you. Now, this 1902 begins the harvest. It is the soul harvest. Now, by the fifth breaking of the seal in the apocalypse, those souls are in the monument of man. This is what we read in the Revelation record. But first, the first, second, third, and fourth seal has to be broken. The sixth seal, you guys already know, is the phoenix. It is everything mentioned in the sixth seal is the same things that's always happened every phoenix year going back. Same phenomena. So, but in different degrees. So what we have here is 1902. All the souls that have ever lived, all of us, you listening to my voice, we've entered in. We've entered in, and these massive death tolls that have happened all through is the soul harvest. The souls are being freed. They're not being shuffled back into more avatars. They're gone. They're sequestered into an area. Well, then the first seal gets broken, which is very soon, very, very soon, because the first, second, and third, and fourth, and fifth seals have to be broken before the sixth seal. But we know the timing of the sixth seal. The timing has always been known. It is May 2040. And for those of you new to my channel, I got an entire playlist to prove it, and don't care about anybody trying to disprove it, because you're going to be overwhelmed with data. So May 2040 is the breaking of the sixth seal. It is the return of the sixth sky dragon of Mother Shipton. It's the return of the vapor canopy, which makes the apocalypse make sense once the vapor canopy is in place. So the soul harvest is all these genocides and all these mass deaths, all this stuff that's happened in the last 120 years. All this genocide in Africa, souls are being released because you can't compress all the people that have ever been alive in the entire 58 to 68 centuries of the simulacrum history into 1 century. You can't, unless what's happening is happening. They're all coming in, and a bunch of them don't have to come back. They reached the destination. They made it. And the fifth seal is the gathering of these spirits. They don't have avatars. Read the fifth seal of Revelation. It is an altar filled with souls that are telling God, when are you going to avenge us? When are you going to do what you came to do? They're telling the benefactor, hey man, you came to set the captives free. When are you going to do it? They're here. That's what the fifth seal is about. It's not events that happen in the world. The events that happen in the world are the breaking of the first seal. And remember, this ain't the apocalypse. The apocalypse, the great unveiling, doesn't begin until the 7 seals are broken. Because the symbolism is a scroll. The scroll contains the judgments that are going to happen to those who have been oppressing the rest of humanity. This is the judgments against the elite. And that's what Revelation says. All these things are going to be taken against the kings and the princes of the earth and all who follow them. They're going to hide in the rocks and they're going to beg the mountains to follow them and all that. But the scroll of their judgments and what they're going to suffer for what they have done to the rest of humanity all these centuries and millennia can't be read, because an ancient scroll had a seal. But this one is the final revelation. And the reason we know that is because it's protected and sealed 7 times. The first seal, ancient seals were done in wax, and they closed a document so the messenger couldn't read it. Only the person who received that scroll could read that by breaking the wax. Because if a messenger ever arrived to a regent and a seal had been broken, man, they would have taken his life. He went to a dungeon. He would have taken his life. So what they had to do if that happened was to return back to the regent and tell them about the accident. Hey, I had an accident. My horse fell. It broke seal. I didn't want to go forward because you already know what they're going to do to me. And then they might forgive him. They might not. I don't know. But they would reseal it and send it with another messenger. So anyway, the first seal's broken. You know it's the white horse and what he does. He has a bow and arrow. That bow and arrow is symbolic of somebody who can do damage from a distance. He's wearing white. He's coming as a savior, and he's regarded as one. Then you have the red one. The red one is an opposition rises against this savior, and they start a war. Then you have this. After this war, it follows this great plague and then starvation. But it's not 4 horsemen, it's 5th. death follows after. Death is a continuation of this genocide. It is the soul harvest. It's during these seals. Then the fifth seal is a period of peace. After all this happens, and it's a small, very short period of time, but it's this period of peace. In that period, nothing's happening on Earth. It's happening in wherever the other side, wherever in the holography. And it is all those who have been harvested. They're no longer being shuttled back into the system. They're now in a contained area, an altar. Remember, guys, I got a whole playlist showing you that in ancient times, the Great Pyramid of Egypt was referred to as an altar. It was remembered by different cultures. Even the symbols of the altar of Agni, which had 10,800 bricks, is the same thing as the Great Pyramid, which was erected in 1080 Annus Mundi, which was reflected in the stars of the sky of Hipparchus, who said that the number was 10,800. Yes, and it's the same thing as the ancient Arabian altars that had 360 eyes on three sides, which is 1080. So all these are just different symbols from antiquity that are pointing to the Great Pyramid as being the altar, which we find in the pseudepigraphical records of the ancient Jewish people, who said that basically there was an altar in the land of Egypt and at the border thereof, which is Giza. So it's the Great Pyramid is this altar, and the Great Pyramid needs to be full. Remember, every soul is a stone of man. Once the altar is filled, once it's complete, that's when the chief cornerstone can come and descend upon the monument of man. And that's when the monument of man is complete. That's when the whole episode of the curse and all the results of the curse is over with. The elite are gone. And all their minions are gone. That's when the Stone Kingdom begins. That is 72 years till the collapse of the simulacrum, which is 2178. I know a bunch of you new to my channel, what I'm telling you is going over your head and you just don't understand. I get that. But what I'm the entire narrative that I'm conveying to you, it's the reason you don't see confusion in the comments here is because a lot of people already get it. They've seen all the videos, they've seen the evidence. It takes patience to get through it all, but a lot of the people who are subscribing to the Archaix channel are very intelligent, and they're not easy to convince. They need to see the sources. They need to see the math. They need to understand the logic. So let me tell you, you're surrounded by people who are critics. Don't think that I'm blowing smoke up their ass. They would be catching me in it if I was. So anyway, let me get down to this comment section. See, man, we turned this whole video into something that we weren't supposed to go in all those directions, guys. We were supposed to stay focused. You guys know I'm hyper-focused unless I trip on a tangent. Let's see. I just see somebody ask me for the super PAC. My chat's moving so fast. I'm sorry. Whoever asked that, listen. Super PAC, yeah, all you got to do is email me. The super PACs are USBs. I got them all over the place. These right here. Because a lot of people don't want to order this and order that. They don't want to order different unpublished manuscripts and chart packs and all that. So every single thing that I have ever produced in Archaix, every unpublished book, every published book, manuscript, every single chart I've done, even the new charts, every chart timeline, all of Chronicon, all 700 new additional notes to Chronicon, the 600 and something handwritten pages new for Chronicon, everything, 5,500 pages and images are on this thumb drive. And I do it because I know that there's going to come a time when people are going to wish they had access to the Archaix information. They're not going to have it anymore. And then that's when Archaix is really going to explode. Because now there's going to be close to 1,000 people with those flash drives that are able to just take off and do what they need to do and spread the information far and wide. Because you definitely have my permission. So anyway, yeah, for those new to my channel, it was all It was all because I was in a panic, and all the telemetry, all the chronometry, the isometric projections, my date sequence, predictive analytics, I have shown, this ain't just me blowing smoke up any of that. I've already shown my own viewers in multiple different videos from multiple different perspectives to expect what's going to happen next year, a takedown and a restructuring of the internet. What I don't know and can't figure out is how that restructuring is going to affect Archaix, the channel, or YouTube. I don't know, because in entirely different data sets I've already revealed 2 years ago is that they're going to be taking down big tech and chopping it up into little pieces that are manageable. And they're going to use those little pieces to push their new ultra-Christian conservative empire. Now, those are 2-year-old predictions. And I just released 2 predictions videos very recently. So for those of you who want to see them, and my track record's pretty damn good, but you got to understand, I'm not a guy here trying to tell you that I get information from somebody. No one's feeding me anything. All my predictions are based totally off what I see in my date sequence, predictive analytics, and my other methods, and those methods are shown in the videos so that you can replicate them. Isn't that right, Square Peg? Let's see. But yeah, that's what the Super PAC's about. The Super PAC is to make sure that you've got all 5,500 pages of Archaix data, so you can have it. So if the internet does go down, you've got 9 months of material you can keep studying. Yeah. Let's see. Alrighty. Yeah, guys, listen. When I get to a certain point, you guys know I just have that general sense when it's time. Sometimes my videos go 3 hours. Sometimes I just get that feeling that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to stop this. But we'll go live again. I'm gonna start doing a lot more live videos. So there's not going to be a lot of time in between them. I really appreciate all your support. Appreciate your patience with me. I'm glad this many people joined me, even though this wasn't going to be a serious live video. I had no idea we were going to be talking about these topics like that. I really wanted to just come in here, man, and just have a good time, talk about these old movies and comic books, and see if I could learn about some songs that you guys know about that talk about some deep things. But you know what? Like I said, man, about Jesus' parables, the greatest truths are propagated through fictions. So this is just something that we need to keep in mind, that all the world is a stage. Shakespeare wasn't wrong. So this is I'm glad you guys spent this time with me tonight. I'm glad to get my Aussies in there, because I have been doing videos during their sleep time. I know that. Man, did I just see Matthew May? Where you at, Matt? There he is, Matthew May. I hung on for as long as I can. I got to go to bed. Matt just moved in next to me. Really close. I'm talking about, I could stop this video and be over there in less than 60 seconds. Yeah, he bought a nice house. A whole entire room is going to be set up. Yes, Brock Lucas, ham radios will work. As a matter of fact, electricity will work. Your laptops, everything's going to work. It's going to be the actual electric infrastructure taken down to do something with. And they're going to blame it on something. They could blame it on an extraterrestrial transmission. That narrative is in place. They can blame it on a X-flare activity. That narrative is in place. They can blame it on new super weapons that Russia might have that do EMPs that knock out underground cables, underwater cables. That narrative is in place. It can also be the result of a new narrative that just started very recently and is being very heavily pushed by Elon Musk. And that is, an AI takeover will result in an internet takedown. So it doesn't matter how they do it. All that matters is you can watch my 2 videos on Carrington event and my predictions videos, and you'll see. It's inescapable. They've already written it into the system. In 2023, they're going to do it. Now, how long it'll be down and to what degree will the changes be that affect us, I can't predict that. nor will I try. But I have to take into consideration that there's an agenda unfolding and that we have 17 more years left before the return of the Phoenix. And they're going to keep us busy with distractions while they burrow in and get ready for its return. With that, I'm going to end this video, guys. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Thank you guys for donating, helping me pay for my new studio. And I had a good time tonight, guys.